Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome into Sports Talk Media Network. Good to have you with us here on this Wednesday night. Good to be back with you after being away for a couple of days, halfway through the Jewish holiday season. One down, and the big one's still to come. So that's next week, and we'll deal with that then. But we made it through part one in good shape, body cleansed, soul solid, mind clear. I know that Chris and Pat and Smitty took care of everything first two nights of this week, so not going to spend a lot of time dwelling on everything that has already been discussed, except to say, having been at the Clemson-Georgia game and having watched on television South Carolina and Eastern Illinois, my conclusion is the Gamecocks did not win the national championship Saturday, and the Tigers did not lose the national championship Saturday. So for those
who
think,
can you get a breakdown and analysis quite like that, but on Sports Talk?
And I've been thinking of that for 2 days. I've been thinking of that for 2 days. Well, I had to sum it up in a short amount of time because I didn't want to bore everybody going over everything that you guys have already talked about. But seriously, I mean, it's a great win for South Carolina in that it's the first win of a new era, and they took care of an inferior opponent like they should have, and they were able to cover up a lot of deficiencies that they do have, and those things will be exposed down the road, no question about it. But it was, for a week, it's a good feeling for South Carolina fans hungry for any kind of W. And so they got it. Clemson, again, as bad as their offense looked against Georgia because they just looked bad. They looked inept in a lot of different ways. And it's a little bit of a head scratcher that Clemson comes out of a camp and does not have an established running back and comes out of a camp with the center position still a bit unstable, though it looks like Backhorst is going to be the primary guy there moving forward. You don't expect that of a program of that caliber to have those kind of questions coming out of camp. So the offense struggled for sure against a really, really good Georgia defense. Meantime, the Clemson defense looked outstanding. And so if you're a Clemson fan, you take heart in the fact that, defense lives week to week. If you're great on defense, it's going to be there week after week. And that gives you something to hold on to as you look down the road at what is a putrid schedule. I mean, good God, can the ACC get any worse? I didn't think the ACC could get any worse than 2020, Chris, but by God, they topped it. I mean, this past weekend was a complete embarrassment for that league.
Could not have gone any worse for them, especially if you're trying to get to the narrative that, as Jim Phillips pointed out in ACC Kickoff, that we are going to be a football league as well. Just paraphrasing some of the things he said, and to have your two contenders to try and close the gap from Clemson go on the road in North Carolina and lose, and then Miami get embarrassed by Alabama, and then have your bell cow play really well on one side of the football and horribly on the other side of the football. Yeah, I'm not sure they could have drawn it up any worse. And then you have Louisville on national TV on Monday looking about as bad as they did.
Yeah, the other thing I took away from the weekend besides the local stuff was Ole Miss. You put a defense with that offense, and that's another threat scary in the West because Corral is – I mean, right now I'd have to crown him as the best quarterback in the SEC. Now, Bryce Young got off to a great start. And we saw that, Daniels didn't do all that much against Clemson because their defense was so good. But Corral just looked right where he left off last year. And he's got receivers, too. That's the other thing. And he's got a terrific running back in Ely. And they play at such a tempo. And their defense looked fundamentally sound. They just didn't, one game make some plays against a not-so-good Louisville team. They look sound to me in their defensive philosophy now that Durkin has in place there in his second season. That's a pretty scary Ole Miss football team, if you ask me.
Well, remember, that's the same defense that Kevin Harris won probably the SEC rushing title on the backs of Ole Miss, rushed for 5 touchdowns in that game. The problem was for Will Muschamp at that time in USC, they couldn't stop Ole Miss. They could not shut down that offense, and as we saw it again on Monday, I'm not sure how many teams are going to be able to slow those guys down, because if Corral has even a modicum of time to throw the football, somebody is getting open in the secondary as good as those wide receivers are.
Yeah, they look really, really good. So anyway, my thought, and I've been like chomping at the bit to tell anybody, and nobody will, want to hear anything from me when I'm not here. So I had to tell the dog. I'm talking to the dog, Winnie. Clemson did not lose a national championship Saturday night. And South Carolina did not win it, but it's a good start for South Carolina. Now go to East Carolina as an underdog, a small underdog, and win that game, which, it's not going to be easy. This is going to be obviously a much improved opponent. Don't get fooled by the loss to Appalachian State. They have a veteran quarterback who can throw it. So this is going to be a test for the Gamecocks' defensive pressure up front and the play of the secondary. And but South Carolina, I think offensively, the little bit of video that I saw, I thought that Nolan, the one thing that impressed me was how he stood in the pocket and took on the blitz and released at the last moment. He kind of just stood in there, and he did not move away from the pressure. He's not a runner to begin with, but he stood in there. He stood in there tall and strong and delivered the ball. So I was impressed by that. Of course, the running backs look really good. So I think the Gamecock offense would, and if Doty is able to play, and today Marcus Satterfield said he ran around well in practice this morning, but they won't know really until Saturday, I think, at the last, few minutes out there, if he's going to be able to start and/or play. So I think the Gamecock offense can do some things against this East Carolina defense. But then again, I think East Carolina's offense might have some things for South Carolina's defense. It's going to be an interesting game. I think an emotional game at a place that, they love to see North Carolina and State and South Carolina and occasionally a Miami come in there and spring the win on them. That can be a real home field advantage for East Carolina when they're playing well.
Listening to Luke Doty yesterday, Phil, I got the sense, at least in his mind, he is going to be ready to play on Saturday. And I'm wondering how much of standing on the sidelines and watching Zeb Nolan play pretty well. I don't think he did anything outstanding, but he was very solid, led the offense, didn't make mistakes. I'm wondering how much sitting him on the sidelines, he thought, you know what, I need to get back as quickly as I can so I don't lose my job. But let's assume for a moment he can't play against East Carolina. Do you want to run him out there in his first game against Georgia and that defensive front, or do you save him one more week and then get him ready to go against Kentucky? I know the mantra coming out of USC has been, we're going to put the guy who gives us the best chance to win this week out on the field. Understand that, but let's be in practicality. Even with Luke Doty, from what I saw on Saturday out of Georgia, I don't know how much of a shot South Carolina has to win in Athens anyway. So if he can't go this weekend, do you hold him out another week and make sure he's ready to go for what I believe is a critically important game for them against Kentucky the following week?
I just got a text from a listener, and then I'm just looking here on one of the Vegas sites, and, South Carolina is now a favorite. That line has moved to South Carolina -2.
That line has gone back and forth. That's where it started. Sunday afternoon when it came out, they were a 2-point favorites. Then they dropped immediately to like a 1 or 2 point underdog, and now it's flip-flopped again. I'll ask the question that I asked when I saw the line initially come out. What did East Carolina show in a loss to Appalachian State? And what did South Carolina not do against Eastern Illinois that gave you the sense that South Carolina shouldn't be the favorite even in Greenville? So maybe that's the thinking now is, hey, this is still an SEC team going to Greenville. They should win that game.
Well, it's going to be a fun game. Now, I'll be up there for that, and Smitty and Pat are going to be double teaming Clemson and SC State, and you'll be at Coastal, Kansas on Friday night. So this is the place to be, live on the air on Sports Talk and also on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, on our Twitter at SportsTalkSC, and of course Facebook. Facebook and our YouTube channel as well, Sports Talk Media Network for both of those. Sports Talk Media Network. Make sure you sign up for our YouTube channel. You can watch us there. Show is archived there. Those of you who like Facebook, we are available there. And we also, of course, After the games, we're doing our Sports Talk at the Stadium recaps live, so you get some early reaction from the coaches and the players, what they're saying after the game, updates on injuries, statistics, our own opinions on what we saw, all of that coming a few minutes. We usually wait. I like to wait until after the coaches have spoken. Smitty goes a little faster. Sometimes he'll do it right after the game, before the post-game press conferences. I like to wait to hear what they say. Each to his own. We don't have any sort of a directive there on how to do it. The bottom line is we're there for you after the games as we travel with both South Carolina and Clemson this year, Pat.
Yeah, guys, actually changing tune here a little bit. We have a breaking story here that we're going to need to keep an eye on throughout the next 2 hours. AAC Commissioner Mike Oresco just was quoted by Ross Dellinger saying that he is now expecting 3 of his top programs, Houston, Central Florida, and Cincinnati, are officially departing the AAC and will be accepting bids to join the Big 12. He's quoted saying, "Our remaining schools have competed extremely well with the schools leaving. The schools leaving have had success, but they are not dynasties. We will add schools and will replenish and reconstitute. His goal is to remain the most powerful of the non-Power 5 conferences, but Houston, Central Florida, and Cincinnati appear to be joining the Big 12.
All right. And now the AAC is going to reach out to try and pull in some people, Chris. And, would Coastal Carolina leave the AAC would be a step up from the Sun Belt, would it not?
I would think so.
Isn't it viewed as a higher,
top to bottom,
a higher league overall?
So now is the Big 12 still accusing ESPN of trying to destabilize conferences now that they're raiding another conference to fill the void left by Oklahoma and Texas? Or, well, it was okay, and ESPN was at fault when we lost teams, but not so much now. We've smoothed it over. We're just doing what everybody else is doing. How does the Big 12 spin this now?
Yeah, really. All right, we have got a lot to talk about. Mike Morgan will be here. He'll be here 7:30. We're doing him early this week because he's traveling next week. He's traveling tomorrow to Baton Rouge. And we have Will and the Thrill tonight. Oh, the Thrill's been waiting for a moment like this. It's been a long time since USC won on a Saturday and Clemson lost on the same Saturday. Okay, he's been building this up for a long time. We got that and more coming up.
The Southeastern Institute of Manufacturing and Technology, known as SIMT, is ready to meet your 3D printing, machining, and social media listening needs. Our list of clients includes business and industrial partners from around the state, the nation, and the globe. In addition, we are providing social media listening services to a variety of businesses and educational institutions, from large companies to law firms to small rural school districts. The SIMT also rents space for training, conferences, and trade shows. Catering services are available for events being held at the SIMT. We are dedicated to customer service and look forward to serving you. Check us out on the web at simt.com to see a full list of our manufacturing services, or give us a call at 843-413-2740.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
phone number here on Sports Talk. Love to hear from you about anything we've talked about so far tonight. How you feeling now that South Carolina's a favorite? That kind of that messes up my our poll question of the week too. Our poll question is
Yes,
the Gamecocks are getting the points now. All of a sudden they're laying the points. Oh my! I don't know what to do about that because if you start over, it erases everything that everything that people have voted to this point. So I don't know. We'll think about that. But now the Gamecocks are favorites. How are you feeling about them going to East Carolina? See, they're right on schedule. For me, I mean, I picked them to beat Eastern Illinois. I think we all did. But they didn't cover. I thought they would. No, they did cover. They did cover. Yep. I didn't think they would cover. They did cover. And now they go to East Carolina. I think they'll come out of this 2-0. I mean, now I was going to say take the Gamecocks and the points. Now it's take the Gamecocks and lay the points. Still, I think they're going to win that ball game and be 2-0 going to Georgia. We'll talk more about that in a moment. Phone number 888-898-2525 and our Sports Talk lucky number from the South Carolina Education Lottery. Did you know that since 2002, more than $829 million in lottery proceeds have been used to fund lottery tuition assistance for students attending technical colleges in South Carolina? You can learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at seeducation.com/education. Wins, playing for fun is a win for education. So that's big news that Pat just shared with us about what's happening there with those leagues, and nothing ever surprises me. A few other important notes from today to kick around. Georgia coach Kirby Smart clarified, he made the comment yesterday in his press conference that there had been a spike in COVID cases in the program. He clarified today that Georgia has 5 total active cases, including players and coaches. He said that the spike comment got blown way out of proportion, but he said a spike to him is 0 to 5 cases. So now if you're Georgia, if you're Clemson, you got to be careful and you got to be testing your guys, right? Because, they were around those Georgia football players. I'm sure, certainly they've called Georgia and said, which players are they? And how much did they play, et cetera, et cetera. Then you got to kind of go back and look at your guys who may be lining up across from those guys and breathing on one another, right?
Phil, that's a really interesting question, a slippery slope, because normally the schools are not going to tell anybody, at least publicly, who tested positive because they're so concerned about violating HIPAA laws and the Privacy Act for the players and the students on campus. So if Clemson were to call, would Georgia give them that information or just say, well, it was a player in the defensive secondary, another player on the defensive line, one on the offensive line, and one running back? Would they physically say it was JT Daniels and, run through the list of different guys, or would they just say, yep, we had 5 of them. You might want to test all your guys.
Yeah, that's really going to be something to keep an eye on for both Clemson and Georgia moving forward as they get ready for the next game. And Georgia's got UAB at home. UAB is nobody to sleep on. Georgia will be the big favorite there, but they're certainly capable of going in and if Georgia's sort of flat coming off that Clemson win, which would be understandable, though the home crowd and the home opener should give them plenty of juice. But UAB's not a bad football team.
No, they're not. And actually, they're being follow up on Pat's story from a couple of moments ago. I'm seeing now they are one of the other ones that are being rumored to go to the American Conference to fill in for the guys who are going to the Big 12. So once these dominoes start to fall, it's not just 1 or 2 conferences that may be affected. It could be as many as 3, 4, and 5.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. Some other notes today of interest. We talked about what Marcus Satterfield said. Luke Doty ran well in practice this morning. They're pushing him. See if he can get ready for Saturday. Said it will be close. Clayton White said safety R.J. Roderick will be back. And I took his words to mean in the starting lineup because he was asked the question, will he be back and in the starting lineup? And he said yes. So I'm taking that to mean back in the starting lineup after he sat out last week's game for team rule issues. Newberry announced today an attendance policy for the football season. Masks and face coverings are strongly recommended regardless of vaccination status. Wearing a mask will be required for entrance Newberry will require all unvaccinated fans to wear a mask at all times. There will be a section on the east side of Setzler Field that will be available for any fans that want to mask and social distance. Fans must be masked when inside any facility on campus. Okay? So they're going to set you apart and let people stare at you, sitting over there with your masks, you masky people. A high school football coach in the Midlands got something going on with him, a really good coach, too, over at Camden High School. Lou's got the story today from the state newspaper. And Camden High School will be without Brian Remph on Friday. The school district has placed him on paid leave. He won't coach against Lakewood. The district did not give a specific reason, but did indicate that, quote, student safety was never a concern, end quote. Assistant Daniel Sisk will be the acting head coach. They went on to say that after a recent investigation, Remph has been placed on paid administrative leave, will not coach this Friday. These district officials said that student safety was never a concern. No further comments on this matter will be provided. Camden's off to a 2-1 start. And they were very good last year, too. He's a former NFL player, you know, with the Ravens. So I don't know what the deal is there, but he's going to be on the sideline at least for one game. Then there's this story today, another sign of, you know, what's coming at all of us. So there's I don't know if it's a podcast or a radio show. It's a former Auburn player who has a show down in Alabama called the J-Boy Show, and it's grown in popularity quite a bit over the last couple of years. I've actually been on the show, I think, one time. He invited me to be on. And so what he has done is signed NLI agreements with 7 SEC football players for them to appear on his show, $500 an appearance, $7,500 each for the season. It works out to, what, $52,000 total to be paid out. The players are Bo Nix from Auburn, Connor Bazelak of Missouri, Jordan Battle of Alabama, Jalen Wiedermeyer of A&M, Todd Harris of LSU, Kieris Jackson of Georgia, and Jamari Sawyer of Georgia. They'll do a 15 to 20-minute segment, each player, 15 to 20-minute segment once a week to discuss their last game and preparations for the coming game. 15 weeks for a total of $7,500. Of course, they have agents who have put this together for them. So, I mean, that's great, I guess. I mean, we won't pay, of course, for interviews. I don't know anybody around here who pay for interviews. We like to think that people come on this show to be interviewed because they want to be on this show. But, hell, we don't pay ourselves. Why should we pay the guests to come on the show? So,
but seriously though, here's what bothered. There are so many things that bother me about this. But the journalism side of the coin aside, are there fans in Auburn and South Carolina and in Georgia and Florida and LSU, Louisiana, any of the schools that house or states rather that house SEC programs? Do you really want to hear from Bo Nix week in, week out that it's going to be worth paying him roughly $7,500 for a season if you're looking at it just strictly from the podcast side of the coin? I just don't see that there's that great an interest to hear from these guys week in, week out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the dice he's rolling there. And, he obviously has sponsors, I guess, behind him to pay him that kind of money. So that's the thing that concerns me. Is, now we're moving in college, and these are SEC pro athletes, not SEC student athletes. These are SEC pro athletes, SEC college pro athletes. That's how I'm going to refer to them moving forward, not college student athletes. They're college pro athletes. And now, we continue to break new ground with this freedom that they have through the NLI. And now, but let's just use Bo Nix because he's a big name. So if the local Auburn radio station wants to do an interview with Bo Nix, does he have to refuse it because he's not getting paid for it? They just want to do an interview with him on a Tuesday afternoon after the press conference. I mean, how do you deal with that from Nix's standpoint? Is he shortchanging the guy that's paying him $7,500 to do a free interview with a radio station, say in Birmingham, maybe Jocks in Birmingham. All right, we'll be back after the break.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. If you got rain today, it's not quite over. After a low of 71 overnight, look for a partly to mostly cloudy day. Tomorrow, with a 40% chance of more showers and a high of 84. Starting Friday, though, it gets beautiful with low humidity, sunshine, and temps through the weekend, maxing out in the mid-80s. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Dave Ramsey here. Do you want your money to work for you rather than you working for your money? Go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank and have been serving the Midlands since 1936, offering good old-fashioned customer service and free services. They'll look out for your financial well-being. With 14 locations, check them out today at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The disconnect is jarring. Across the United States, employers who are desperate to fill jobs have posted a record high number of job openings. They're raising pay, too, and dangling bonuses to people who accept job offers or recruit their friends. And yet millions more Americans are unemployed compared with the number who were jobless just before the viral pandemic flattened the economy a year and a half ago. The puzzling mismatch is a reflection of an unsettled economy, one that all but shut down at the height of the pandemic, then bounced back with unexpected speed and strength. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 68 points, the Nasdaq dropped 87, the S&P 500 lower by 5, oil up 95 cents to $69.30 a barrel. More details at srnnews.com.
So your home is your castle. I work hard all day. My reward is time at my home with my family, living comfortably. I don't want to worry for a moment about bugs and pests. I've had Palmetto Exterminators taking care of my home for 19 years. Now, that's a long time without worrying about pest control or infestation or termites, and that's because Palmetto Exterminators takes care of it all. Might not matter to some people, but you know what it does to me? They're family-owned. They've been doing this the right way for over 60 years. The staff is courteous. They're clean. They're totally professional. And you know, it's termite season. Palmetto Exterminators offers a free inspection. They'll customize the program to fit your needs and your family's budget. They offer a lifetime warranty with their termite agreement. Now, I speak from experience. Like I said, 19 years with the same company. I can't give a more glowing recommendation than the one I proudly give to Palmetto Exterminators. Online, palmettoexterminators.net, or call my guy, Ron Byers, 254-5833. That's 254-5833, Palmetto Exterminators.
Every Friday morning at 9 a.m. on The Point, join me, Chad Jordan, and my co-host Larry Jordan for the Palmetto Real Estate Pros. We'll help you out whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just learn all things real estate every Friday right here at 100.7 The Point.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxfax.
For many years, I've bragged about the great work Stone Interiors does in the home. And brag's the right word, because before I endorsed Stone Interiors, I was a customer first. That means I've been through the same process you can go through. Lainey and I visited the showroom. We were in awe of the selection as we wanted a unique granite look for our kitchen. We got that for our countertops. We found something special. The team at Stone Interiors put the plan in motion. They came out, they installed the granite that we've been loving and beaming about ever since. When folks visit our home, inevitably, we end up in the kitchen talking and someone comments about the granite, from its look to its texture. So is it time to enjoy some new granite, marble, or quartz? Do you need a beautiful new backsplash in the kitchen? What about a new fireplace or an outdoor kitchen? Stone Interiors has taken great care of folks in the Midlands for 20 years. They're locally owned and operated, and that's essential. You can visit the showroom, do a virtual appointment if you want, whatever you're comfy with. Visit stoneinteriors.com or give them a call, 461-8950. And, of course, tell them you heard about it from The Point.
We are back on a Wednesday edition of Sports Talk Media Network. Good to have you with us. 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Hope you can stay with us through the show. 705, Will and the Thrill. Looking forward to this session of Will and the Thrill. Bottom of the hour, it'll be Mike Morgan on the move. He's going to be doing the game at LSU. That's going to be a friendly place on Saturday with the way they performed against UCLA. I'd say the Heat. Well, I tell you what, it does not take long to go from the penthouse to the outhouse in certain places. And that would be LSU, Chris, because, of course, there's some off-the-field stuff still hanging over that program as well. I'm still surprised that they hadn't changed coaches there, considering everything that was coming out in the offseason. But then to go lay an egg in what was you got to give UCLA credit. They were ready to play. Chip Kelly had his guys ready to go. Best game they've played, I guess, in his time there. And he needed a good performance, a good victory over a named team to really help his cause out there. But, boy, problems at LSU right now.
And no question. And did I read this correctly? I kept seeing tweets about it after the game. Did Ed Orgeron actually call UCLA wearing those sissy blues?
I think he did.
I know I saw that come out somewhere. If you're Ed Orgeron coming off the season you had last year, I realize the bloom's probably still not quite off the rose after the national championship 2 years ago, but you might want to keep your mouth shut when you're going on the road, especially not sure as to what your team is going to look like. You didn't need to give UCLA any more motivation, and they certainly took full advantage of it and played awfully, awfully well.
They certainly did. 888-898-2525. Got some open phone lines. If you'd like to join us tonight, we'd love to hear from you. Get your thoughts about what's happening this week, getting ready for another weekend of football, beginning on Friday with Coastal Carolina and Kansas. Chris, you've been around Chanticleers this week, listening in on news conferences and the like. 26-point favorites against Kansas. Kansas, of course, with a new head coach and, trying to make something out of the mess that became Kansas football under Les Miles. Really, that one is hard to understand how Les Miles went from national championship coach at LSU to out of the business and basically just losing control of things at LSU and never really getting things under control at Kansas.
We were talking about this a little bit yesterday over at USC's media availability with Shane Beamer, not directly talking with Coach Beamer about it because obviously he doesn't care. But we were all trying to figure out how Kansas could fall as far as they have, considering the relative success that their men's basketball program has had. Why football just can't do any better than it has and get out of its own way. But the coach that they brought in, Coach Leipold, if you look back through his resume, here's a guy who reached 100 victories faster than anybody else in college football. He's won, I believe, 6 national championships at lower divisions. He was like 5 times coach of the year. I mean, they actually found somebody who's got the resume at lower level, at least to come in and maybe spark some interest in that Kansas program. But I asked Jamie Chadwell about the spread when it was up to 27 on Monday when he held his press conference, and he was not having any of it. He said, that's the last thing we're worried about. But I did ask him, could you have thought 3 years ago when the program was making that transition up to FBS that at one point in time you would be a 4-touchdown favorite over a Big 12 program? And you step back and think for a moment, good grief, that is true. It's amazing how quickly Coastal has become relevant at the FBS level, considering they were an FCS program just about 4 years ago.
And it was announced yesterday, I know you guys talked about it, that Joe Moglia making a major financial donation to the athletic program, as if he hasn't already left his imprint on the program, to where they can build an indoor practice facility and add to other programs on the campus. I mean, what he has done for that program is immeasurable, both on the field and with his checkbook, his philanthropic approach to the university as a whole, the athletic program in particular. I mean, if you're a Coastal fan, you can't thank that guy enough.
No, you really can't. Not just from what he was able to accomplish on the field. He was an outside the box hire. There's no question. And turned out to be a terrific hire as a head coach. And for health reasons, he ultimately stepped down, and they've got a pretty darn good one in his place in Jamie Chadwell. But what he's been able to bring in terms of economics to that school is just phenomenal. The soccer programs actually were, I think, more excited than the football team was, because they're finally going to have enough money to finish what has been in the works for them for a long, long time. And that's building a brand new soccer complex for, especially on the men's side, a program that is a, Final Four type, at least Elite Eight type program virtually every year. And now you add an indoor practice facility at Coastal, couple that with being able to recruit to the beach. Coastal's not going to lack for anything moving forward in terms of their football program.
And that is certainly not to sell short nor forget the contributions of David Bennett to start everything, because, I mean, he had to start from scratch, and he made them a highly competitive FCS program within a number of short years and kept them there. But they decided to eventually go in another direction, and they are where they are now because of his contributions and what Joe Mowgli had brought to the table. And now Jamie Chadwell, as long as they can keep him at Coastal Carolina, there's no reason to think that the well's going to run dry there anytime soon, because they're recruiting good players at their level, and they're spreading their footprint beyond South Carolina, Georgia, North Carolina. I mean, they're reaching into other areas, and they're taking some transfers here and there, but they're not hitting the junior colleges extremely hard. And they're, again, a transfer here or there, but they're trying to build it the right way through good young talent.
And they certainly have. If you go through their roster this year and compare it even to last year, as good as that program was last year and with the talent they had, I think you can make the argument they're even more talented now, and they will be even more talented next year, because one thing Jamie Chadwell has said, we're not going to reap the benefits. When I say we, I'm talking about his program. They're not going to reap the benefits from what happened last year until next year or the year down the road, because obviously the recruits that saw them play last year weren't able to come in and be a part of this year's team. So this has got staying power, assuming that they don't have a whole lot of turnover in the coaching staff. And obviously Grayson McCall continues to develop at the quarterback position, but they've got it built the right way. You're exactly right, Phil. And this is built for a long staying power, and maybe enough to be attractive enough, as you pointed out a few minutes ago, that maybe the Americans starts looking at them and Appalachian and maybe Louisiana as potential placeholders for the guys going to the Big 12.
All right, phone number 888-898-2525. Let's go to Reggie in Columbia. First up tonight with us here on Sports Talk. Welcome in, Reggie. How are you?
I think the most enjoyable part of covering my first Coastal Carolina game the other night was watching Phil frantically search for his phone. I thought he might have left it at the Red Roof Inn, but apparently he left it near the Citadel locker room. But we all should have known it was Phil.
I appreciate your wife calling me and getting it back to me, so that's good.
Well, she knew it was your phone because it's the only phone that she knew of a ringtone that played Tiger Rag.
Reggie calls the show. That's Reggie the Loser Anderson from Channel 19 here in Columbia. I say this every time he calls because he realizes he gets more people to listen to him for 30 seconds on this show than he gets to watch him in a week of television on Channel 19, Chris. How do you explain that?
Well, I'm not going to let you off the hook here, though. Reggie brings up a terrific.
True.
You've got to tell our listeners
nobody
that
cares
story
about this.
about you losing your phone, because that was.
Well,
I've never seen you panicked as much as you were on Thursday.
I think my face. I think I was flushed white. I mean, I was panicking. Anybody would be panic. Have you ever lost your cell phone before? You're going to be panicked. So what happened was last Thursday, being the nice guy that I am, I went down to help Chris with the post game. He was doing Coastal. I went over to get Brent Thompson, and I'm using my phone as the recording device. And I go back upstairs to start breaking down the audio and helping write the story. And I sit down and I start looking for my phone. Long story short, there's no phone. I go back down to where we were. I look around. I don't see it. I go back up to the press box. And one of the television guys, not Reggie, somebody with a brain, said that he saw a phone up on a wall somewhere over there. So I go back down, look around, look on the walls, look everywhere, can't find it. In the meantime, I go back upstairs. This is like trip number 3. And Reggie is sitting over there in the corner. And I said to him, don't you, or maybe he volunteered to call my my number. I had to unblock him because I tried to, that was impossible. Thank goodness I had unblocked him. So anyway, he calls it and he calls it and calls it. I go back down, don't find it, come back up. He said, "You get your phone?" I said, "No." He goes, "Well, there's a woman down there with your phone." I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, when I called the last time, some woman answered it." And he said, "Hold on to that phone. Guy's coming down to get it." And I said, "Well, where is she?" He said, "Well, she's over there with the Citadel people." So I went back down. Sure enough, there was a very nice lady who was working with the Citadel crew, handing out meals to the players. And she had my phone. She had found it on the ground, and she had it for me. And I thanked her very much. And yes, I had to go upstairs and tell Reggie that I was forever indebted to him for finding my phone. It's a very painful moment in more than one way, as you can imagine, to be indebted to Reggie. But no, I do appreciate that, Reggie. You did a fine job in helping me find my phone and saving myself from myself. But that is a moment of panic when you can't find your phone. It's like not finding your keys. It's like, being at a ball game, leaving the press box, walking to the parking lot, getting near your car, and you can't find your keys. I mean, that's panic-stricken, right?
Absolutely. And I have tried over the years to put my keys back in my briefcase, backpack, whatever, in the same spot every time so I can remember, and I never do. And so I go through that panic routine that you did, going through my book bag, trying to pull stuff out. Where are my keys? That's before I leave the press box. But and to give our listeners who have never been to Brooks Stadium, going back and forth, up and down is not the easiest thing, because the press box sits on the upper level on the fourth floor of the home side. And so you either have two choices. You can wait and go down and back up in the elevator, or you can walk down 4 flights of stairs. And Phil had to make that trip at least 4 different times.
I did the elevator. The elevator was available. No, I'm not walking those steps. I'll tell you that. All right, back to serious stuff, but thank you, Reggie. Now go away. Georgia quarterback JT Daniels could miss the UAB game. It's being reported by Dogs 24/7. He's day-to-day, but who isn't? He was limited in practice on Tuesday. If he can't play, the great Carson Beck will be back in control. Boy, that's got to put make Bulldog fans just nervous as heck after what he couldn't do last year. But Daniel has not been ruled out after the game, after leading Georgia to that win over Clemson. So we'll see what happens. It could be on the sideline for UAB. I wonder if that's affected the line in that game. I haven't looked, but I bet you if it hasn't yet, it certainly will when you have that kind of a question about the starting quarterback. He's never lost a game at Georgia as starting quarterback. He's now 5-0.
5-0. Yeah. I don't remember. Did he get hurt during the game, Phil? I don't remember him leaving the game due to an injury, or did this possibly happen during practice? And if so, what in the world are they doing hitting their starting quarterback?
Yeah, I would imagine it. I mean, look, he took some shots during the game, and they're talking about like an upper body type of injury. So I imagine he's just still feeling it from some of those Clemson hits. We'll be back after the break.
I'm not like some whoop-de-doo executive chef. I consider myself more of a baker than a chef. I like working with my hands. I like turning regular ingredients into like something spectacular.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has funded over 450,000 life scholarships in our state, giving countless students a chance to answer their calling, just like Aaron. Your passion is our purpose.
Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdheck.gov/vaxfax.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Hey folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history, and with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo. 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
All right, we're back here on Sports Talk. You want to play that little David Bennett thing? Can you play a minute of it? Yeah. Of course, you guys talked about it last night. It was the anniversary, 10-year anniversary
10-year
of the
anniversary,
Cats
yeah.
and Dogs. I watched that on Twitter. I mean, I hoot and holler every time I see that. And, listen, it made him famous around college football with that comment. But you lead into it, Chris, because you put something together last night.
Well, it was a remixed version of his press conference. Keep in mind, this was in a press conference, and it was somewhat innocuous at the time. And I think everybody who was in attendance sort of looked at one another and said, what in the world is he talking about? But he was actually telling a story about a cat that had gotten into his house, and he used it, spun it around to where it was a pep talk for his players because cats worry more about their appearance than dogs do. And that's why he kept saying, well, we need more dogs. So thanks to the wonderful world of YouTube and modern technology, 10 years ago, David Bennett had his dogs and cats. So we thought we'd have a little fun with it thanks to YouTube.
Trying to get our two boys ready to carry the golf term forward. That's right. 12 cats live across the road. Our door's open. Screen's broke. We need to get a new screen door. Be a dog. We need to get a new screen door. There ain't a bunch of cats in here. We need to get a new screen door. We need more dogs. Cat turns, tries to get back out, but the screen won't go. That's like, looking in the mirror. I look good. I got my extra bands on. We need to get a new screen door. Be a dog. We need to get a new screen door. There ain't a bunch of cats in here. We need to get a new screen door. We need more dogs. So you come in through the screen, but you can't get back out. I turn to look, there's a little kitty cat in our kitchen. Sausage. We need to get a new screen door. Be a dog. We need to get a new screen door. There ain't a bunch of cats in here. We need to get a new screen door. We need more dogs. You don't need no meows. We need more dogs. You don't need no meows. We need more dogs. We need more dogs. We need more dogs.
Oh, my goodness. Who did that? Who put that together?
In fairness, we did not do that.
Yeah,
we just appropriated it. Somebody put it up on YouTube not long after that speech.
That's
so
hilarious.
I've had some fun with that over the years.
Yeah.
I remember we actually played it on we were sitting around waiting on a baseball game in the bus with the team one time and got to talking about Coach Bennett and pulled that up on YouTube and everybody was chuckling. It's a great, whoever did that, very, very talented. I wish I could take credit for it, but no.
Yeah. Very well done. Very well done. All right. Speaking of Coastal, we mentioned they got the game. They get the weekend underway again in the state. They got such a crazy schedule. Games all over the map during the days of the week. They were Thursday last week. They're Friday this week. And Chris, it's Kansas. We talked about it. And Jamie Chadwell talked with you guys earlier this week about that win last week and getting ready for Kansas.
Talked about the Jayhawks, the first ever Power 5 team coming into Conway. It's the third game in a series that Coastal's won the previous two. And here's what Jamie Chadwell had to say. First off, looking back at their win over the Citadel last Thursday, and then starting to look forward to the matchup with the Jayhawks on Friday.
After having a chance, obviously, look at the video from our first game, I thought we did a lot of really good things in all three phases. Thought we played hard. For the most part, we had a lot of guys that had the opportunity to go out and compete, which was good, and to do it some game action. There's some things that we definitely need to clean up as we continue to march forward in this season. Obviously, our team's really looking forward to the opportunity we have this coming Friday night. Want to be on TV too to host our first Power 5 opponent here in Conway, and then have another chance to be in front of the home crowd. I thought our crowd was outstanding last week. They were into it. It was loud. I'm hoping we continue to do that this week. Our student body was excellent. And so hopefully we'll have a great crowd for another home game here on Friday night. And we know we got a good opponent coming in, new coach, obviously an opponent that we're familiar with from the standpoint of playing them the last couple couple years, but completely new coaching staff. And if you follow the coaching staff, follow their history, they've won it everywhere they've been. They're extremely disciplined, they're tough-minded, and they're well coached. So, completely different team that'll be coming in here than we played the past year, and so we're going to have to be ready to play at a high level for us to come out and to achieve a victory. I'll open it up from there.
Coach, the first question we have is from Gabe McDonough. With the new staff at Kansas, what are some of the main differences you've seen after week one?
Well, I think one, they're sound. Offensively and defensively, they play with really good fundamentals. They're hard nosed. You can see that from the first game they played, and they made some mistakes, but they didn't get their head down. They kept playing, they kept competing. You can see that they're excited about playing for each other. And so I think that's the things that stuck out of video. And they obviously brought some transfers in there, some that were with them at Buffalo that have helped tremendously. And then, but also just the way they're playing. And I know they've not had a long time there because I think they got the job there in April or whenever it might have been, maybe even May. But you can see from their standpoint, their mindset, things that maybe previously, a penalty here or a bad situation would have, caused them to spiral, and they didn't. They found a way to win. So I think that shows a lot about them.
Next question. Coach, this is the first time a Power 5 school has played at Coastal. Can you speak of the significance and what would you like to see as the next step in hosting future Power 5 schools?
Well, I think one, anytime you can get a team to come to Conway here, come to Brooks, I think it's a huge benefit. Obviously, to be our very first one, that makes it special. To be on TV makes it even better. And hopefully, as we continue to build our program, and there's going to be more opportunities for teams that want to come down here. I hope it continues. I think it's great for our community and our fan base to bring teams from other conferences, Power 5 conferences in here. I think that's huge for us, and is a benefit to not only this school but our team and really this whole community to bring somebody in like that. So hopefully we can continue to do that. If we keep winning, I don't know if anybody's going to be honest with you, but we're going to try our best. But what was the second part of the question?
Just the significance of it to our program.
Yeah, I think it's just big. I think that shows you, what we're trying to do here and the steps we're taking. And it's just another step in us trying to build a program that's relevant, not only in the Sun Belt, but nationally.
Coach, 3 years ago, could you have imagined that your program could be nearly a 4-touchdown favorite of our Big 12 program?
Well, I won't get into that, because I don't think we're a 4-touchdown favorite over anybody by any means. One thing you've learned, and especially you watch this weekend, in college football, that who's supposed to win and who wins doesn't happen a lot. It's all about who shows up and plays. But I will say this, that I do believe in our staff and what we've tried to do here and build the program. So in here and our players, we're not surprised on the trajectory of our program because we believe that we could put together a program that was consistent to be one of the tops of the Sun Belt, hopefully nationally. And so I'm not surprised by that as far as where we're at and the direction we're headed. But I don't put any whatever the word is right now, slips my mind, anything in credence maybe into a point spread because we're going to have to play well to beat Kansas.
Coach, what adjustments have you made defensively going into this week with a more balanced offense in Kansas than the triple option style that the Citadel had last week?
Well, it'll be completely different. The defense that we played Thursday night, you won't see that defense at all. We had certain people playing certain positions, and they won't be playing that position. This coming week, we had to specifically do that, and so you'll get back to what we've typically played, in the past. And so the biggest challenge, truthfully, no matter who we're playing, obviously we're playing a good opponent, but no matter who we're playing, anytime you I don't want to say change your defense, but you play a defense that you typically don't. It takes you a while to get back out of that because you put so much into that opponent you played. And so I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for us is going back and going back through the fundamentals of the things that our base stuff that we have to be good at for the next 13 games that we missed out on over the last 8-9 practices because of preparing for the opponent we did. So that's going to be the biggest challenge for our defense. But I expect them to play well.
All right, comments from Jamie Chadwell looking ahead to Kansas. Dabo Sweeney talked with the media a little while ago, said they've had 3 great days of practice. We'll get you some of that in the next hour. Busy hour coming up.
Here. Thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. Dylan Roof seeks a rehearing on his church murder conviction.
Lawyers for Dylan Roof filed a petition Wednesday challenging the 4th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals confirmation of his conviction and death sentence for the 2015 racist slayings of 9 members of Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina. Attorneys for Roof want the full court to consider his appeal after a 3-judge panel of the court unanimously upheld Roof's conviction and sentence last month. In 2017, Roof became the first defendant in the United States sentenced to death for a federal hate crime. Roof's attorneys argue he was wrongly allowed to represent himself during sentencing. I'm Mike Gracia.
Members of Congress and law enforcement are bracing for potential security threats on September 18th when a Justice for J6 rally is planned to support the more than 570 people charged with crimes related to the January 6th attack on the Capitol.
The Capitol Police are expected to present their security plan to the Capitol Police Board this week, while the Metropolitan Police Department is also expected to ramp up its presence for the planned rally near the Capitol's West Front. The group organizing the rally, Look Ahead America, is led by Matt Braynard, who served as a campaign staffer for former President Trump. About 300 to 500 attendees are expected at the event, including members of groups such as the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers. It's not yet clear if any members of Congress will be in attendance, but some prominent House Republicans have offered support to people facing charges for their actions on January 6th. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
Officials have raised the death toll from Hurricane Ida in Louisiana to 26. The additional 11 deaths all occurred in the city of New Orleans. The state health department said Wednesday the deaths happened between August 30th and Monday, but were just confirmed as storm-related by the Orleans Parish coroner. 9 of the deaths were from excessive heat. The remaining 2 deaths involved carbon monoxide poisoning. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Right now, people are home with their pets more often, and I think especially with the shedding, they're more cognizant of what's going on and that it's an actual issue.
Olive got some skin issues. He gets really going and scratching.
Excessive shedding, a lot of just scratching and itching.
Jiggy, scratching and itching and biting. On top of that, he was starting to get black buildup in his ears.
DINOVITE.com.
I just heard the Dynovite commercial so many times that I said, you know what, I'll give it a shot. And I ordered it and tried it, and it worked.
We started Dynovite, and in our first stock, we noticed a difference, especially with the shedding.
Within 3 weeks, he's not scratching and itching, and he's an all-around happier dog.
We've got 4 dogs, all different ages, all different sizes, and they've all just responded really well to the Dynovite, and they all love it.
We will be using Dynovite for life.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
We order our Dynovite from Dynovite.com. DINOVITE.com.
A powerful earthquake has struck near the Pacific resort city of Acapulco, killing at least 1 person and causing buildings to rock and sway in Mexico City, nearly 200 miles away. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma reports.
People rushed into the capital streets following the quake, the tremors causing power outages in many parts of the city. The epicenter was close to Acapulco, striking at a depth of around 6 miles. According to the U.S. Tsunami Warning System, a tsunami was possible in that region of the Pacific coast. The entire west coast of the American continent is on the so-called Pacific Ring of Fire, which is known for seismic activity. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
The ground shook for nearly a minute in some parts of Mexico City. Some people evacuated their buildings briefly, but most quickly went back inside on a rainy night. More on these stories at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters in Washington.
The Dennis Prager Show weekdays at noon right here on The Point. Take time for a visit to PragerU. We'll tackle today's issues, interview intriguing newsmakers, do some teaching and some learning together on 100.7 The Point and make ThePointRadio.com.
Jay Farner here, CEO of Rocket Companies. If you thought you missed your chance to refinance and save, think again. Mortgage rates have recently dropped below 3%, and Rocket Mortgage can help you save big. You could lower your monthly payment and prepare yourself for a better financial future. But you've got to act now. Call us today at 833-8-ROCKET or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Conditions apply. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
The Point.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
There we go. Welcome back in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network. On a Wednesday night, very busy show. Going to get you a little Dabo Swinney right off the practice field in a few minutes. We got recruiting coming up. Mike Morgan on the move, around the horn. We talk a little baseball tonight here on Sports Talk. Still got a lot to do, but we kick off this hour, as we do on Wednesday nights during the football season, with two of South Carolina's finest, Will Merritt, former Clemson offensive lineman, and Carl, the Thrill Hill, former Gamecock defensive end. We like to let the winners talk first here on Sports Talk. You know how that song goes, let the winners lead the way, something like that, Carl. Carl, you get to go first tonight. How about that?
Oh, man, it's a great – hey, the winners, I like being on the winners' road. It's not too often that we win and those guys up the road lose. So it was a great weekend for us down here, us folks down south.
What did you like most about what you saw from the Gamecocks? Now, let's don't crown them SEC champions or NCAA champions just yet. Let's just call them champs for a week at the very least, but they did a lot of good things. You had to feel good about some things you saw?
And basically feel like I said last week, the only thing, that was an exhibition game for us, and that's what we wanted to have, not like the Tigers. They had a tough game, and it didn't turn out well. We wanted to see a couple things. We wanted to see our depth. We wanted to see how many guys can go in and do what they're told. And we kind of looked like the Tigers last weekend. We probably had about 75 guys out of the 8 guys we had on scholarship get a chance to play. That was good for those guys to get a little reward. It was just a great weekend to go ahead and get an exhibition game, get a little bit better test this weekend, but now the season kind of started for us.
That's right. I mean, things kind of pick up this weekend with East Carolina. Be a much tougher test going up to Greenville, North Carolina, and taking on a team that has a lot more talents and will be well coached. Mike Houston, no doubt, will have his guys ready to play. It's a huge, huge game for East Carolina because they see this as a golden opportunity to knock off an SEC team. And you know, Carl, that's something that South Carolina has got to be careful about, in that they're now the favored by 2 points. They've got that one win under their belt. Now they've got a chance to go to 2-0 and get a coveted road victory. And then by doing that, they would have a ton of confidence going to Athens the next week. Now, I'm not sure that would be enough to help them knock off North Carolina, but it would certainly give them a lot of confidence in practice that week and have them feeling good going to Athens if they can take care of business up in Greenville, North Carolina.
North Carolina, just like this home last week was an exhibition week, this is pretty much the same thing, Phil. It's a little bit tougher, but we're better talented. We're a better coached football team than they are, and we should go up there and we got 70-some-odd guys play last week. We may drop down about 59, 62, but we're going to get a lot of guys in, a lot of experience. We need a bunch of young guys to get experience. This is another exhibition game for us on the road to give us a little bit of experience to get used to going down and get ready for them Bulldogs. But it's one game at a time, baby, and we're ready for them Pirates.
Did you ever play up in Greenville, North Carolina when you were at USC?
Yes, and the flying picture that I sent you guys, that's me trying to block a field goal, a 39-yard field goal that I got my hand on. That was up at East Carolina in Greenville.
How about that? What'd you think of the stadium and their fans and the passionate fan base that they have and the way they get behind their team?
And again, it'll give us a really good experience to get a little small taste of it, to see what's going to happen when we get to Athens. Again, this is going to be a good experience for us. We're better talented. We have more talent than they do. We're better coached than they are. And again, this is a good exercise for us to get ready for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And in just a moment, we'll have Will with us. He was with us a moment ago, and line dropped, and we're now reconnected. So, Carl, we thank you for dominating the first 5 minutes of the segment. We'll give Will now a minute or two to try to catch up. And now he talks really fast, so he can catch up in a hurry. Good to have you with us. Good to have you with us there, loser, Will Merritt.
Oh, well, I mean, what a great introduction.
Well, we got the winner. You know, and listen, you've been winner so many times whenever we have you guys on. It's Carl's time to crow a little bit, you know?
Yeah. It gets old after a while.
All right, so what happened to your offense on Saturday?
Well, they sent Clemson, and everybody else went to Charlotte.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listen, I mean, it boils down to this. I mean, our offense was just abysmal, and Georgia dialed up a great defense. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and downplay the fact that Georgia deserved to win the ball game. I mean, they did. I mean, they were the better team, and so I mean, give them credit. I mean, I know that both offenses only scored 3 points, and so moving forward, we can move into a direction of going, okay, all right, our defenses can be that good. But at the same time, man, if you can't move the football, my gosh, I mean, you can't win football games. And so our offensive line was not very good. And but I really don't think the fault comes to the fact that we did not have a great defensive game plan, because we did stifle Georgia. At the same time, Georgia was just they were better than we were that night. And if we play them 10 times again, I don't know if they beat us 10 times over again. But at the same time, they were better that night. And so give them credit. They won. And, I mean, what else do you say? They beat us.
Will, and the thrill here on Sports Talk tonight for their Wednesday visit, looking back, looking forward. Will, it is easy for someone like myself or Phil, who never played college football, to sort of paint with a broad brush and just say the offensive line for Clemson struggled. But as a former offensive lineman, where did you see the mistakes? Was it being out-physicaled by the defensive front of Georgia, or were there schematic problems that Clemson's offensive line made in that ballgame?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm going to say it starts with the guards, because the interior did not stifle the line of scrimmage. And I thought they got pushed back into the backfield. And anytime the quarterback feels like there's pressure coming from the interior, he doesn't really know where to go. And so you've got to have a pocket. I mean, even if the tackles have to, go against great pass rushers on the defensive end, if you feel pressure from the interior, I feel like that's where we fall short. And that's the the position I played. And trust me, there were times that my quarterback had many times that I went, look out. I threw lookout blocks all the time. I'm like, look out, here they come. They're coming that way. They're coming this way. And I was talking to Woody Detzfer, after the game, and I'm like, look, man, I may have not given up 7 sacks. That's probably because I was called for 7 holding penalties, because I would hold them and grab them by the face mask. It's one thing to understand the dynamics of the offensive line, but you got to understand all 5 guys have to be working harmoniously. And I feel like that, the other night they were just in disarray. I mean, every time Georgia brought a blitz, they didn't know where they were coming from. And I think that's going to, they're going to correct that over the years. And they're going to correct that over the season. But you've got to correct that over a period of time. And, Georgia they dialed up a great game plan, and they were just better than Clemson.
Carl, back over to you for a moment with regards to USC's win. From a former player's perspective, when you watched Zeb Nolan, what did you see about him that you liked, and maybe what mistakes did he make, if any, that fans may not have seen in your mind?
And it's the same thing I said last week. He's a coach. He's been in the room talking to the coaches, understanding the offense, and when he was able to take it to the football field, the kid can throw. He's got a decent arm. So the leadership and the understanding of what the coaches, that's just great as asset. He's probably got the best arm we have out there. And right now, the coach gives us the absolute best chance to win here this weekend and going forward. When you can have a coach on the field, that is something that coaches love to get. Tom Gadd moved me from, I was an outside linebacker. We don't call plays, but you have the middle guys, the linebacker or the safety. He put me to call plays because he knew what I understood, what was going on. And when you have somebody like Coach Zeb is doing, he's a good guy for us, and we're happy to have him right now. And I do want to say one thing. Mm-hmm. Them Tigers, they're going to have a problem. It's the same problem they had last year. They couldn't run the ball. They done lost everybody in the center of the offense. They don't have a running back. The quarterback gone and the center gone. All those guys been replaced, and all those guys are worse than the guys they had before. It's the same thing as last year. They couldn't run the ball last year. The offensive line, they can't run the ball now because there's not enough talent up there to run the ball. This is going to be a problem. They better watch out for NC State and Florida State on their schedule. And if they keep playing like this, they better look out for us coming down in November.
Oh, my.
Okay.
We're getting kind of full of ourselves here.
Let's pump the brakes for a second, okay? I mean,
but wait a minute. He makes a good point. Let me ask you this, Will. I mean, are you a little surprised that going into this game, they were unsettled at center to some degree and unsettled at running back to a large degree? Now, we don't know what the deal was with Lynn J. Dixon. He came in fourth quarter, carried the ball one time, 10 yards, didn't touch it again.
Yeah, but he was suspended for the whole first half.
Yeah. I get that. But even then, it seems like, do you think he's going to be the guy moving forward? Is he going to be the primary running back, Lynn J. Dixon?
No, I don't think he's going to be the guy. I mean, if you saw Will Shipley run the football, he's a very talented guy. Mm-hmm. So let's not get carried away here, guys. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it was a 3-3 game. Okay. Georgia did win the ball game, and they deserved to win the ball game. Mm-hmm. I'm not taking anything away from that. Okay. But, they gave 3 points away. We gave 3 points away. So it's not like that they dominated Clemson. Let's not get carried away with the fact that Georgia just beat the pants off of Clemson. They didn't. Okay. At the same time,
you got 100 yards out total offense. That's beating the pants off of you.
No, they got a little more than that, but he gets your point.
Okay. So, who's talking? Who's realistic and who's not?
You have to understand. Carl is susceptible to emotional outbursts when the Gamecocks win. So be careful.
Yeah, well, I know it's an anomaly when y'all win and we lose. I understand that. That is a weird weekend, and the Gamecocks have a win, and Clemson has a loss. I get that. So congratulations to you. It's not going to happen very often, okay? And it definitely won't happen in November. So why don't you keep your mouth shut for just a second and let me tell you what realism is is that, they did win the game. Clemson had every win, every chance to win the game, and they just didn't capitalize. They just didn't. They were inside the 5 so many times, and they just didn't capitalize. But that's okay. Georgia deserved to win the game. They were the better team that night. Now, if we play the game again, I don't know who wins, but we don't have that chance. But I promise you this, Carl, the thrill hill, let me tell you something. You get to play us in November, and we'll find out who wins.
It'll be settled on the field. And let me ask you this, Will, real quick. What's going to happen with the offensive line? Can you live with Bockhorst at center and Tate at left guard, or Chio at left guard? Is that too much of a drop-off there, or can those guys do the job eventually?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I don't know the answer. I would like to give you a good answer to that, but I don't know. But I do know this. They got to make some corrections because, Phil, as you saw the game, we didn't do anything worth a crap in blitz pickup. And they didn't pass guys off. They didn't pass center and guard pick up. The Cowboys Indian stunt just killed us all night long. And, that, but a lot of that is, you're starting a true freshman. You're starting a bunch of redshirt freshmen, a lot of guys that have never played position. I'm not making excuses. Georgia dialed up a great plan, and they beat us. They were in the backfield. 7 sacks. Good gosh, they were in the backfield all night long. So give Georgia credit for what they did. But at the same time, a lot of times you learn from losses as much as you do from wins. And so when you look at the film, you correct your mistakes. And I think we'll be better moving forward. You lost by a pick 6. Okay? That's it. Granted, Georgia just stifled you. But you still, at the end of the day, don't blame Coach Venables because he dialed up a game plan that Georgia couldn't move the football at all. So it's not all bad.
No. All right, last thing. Carl, you get the last question first and last. So who do you want to see at quarterback Saturday?
It's not really who we want to see. It's the best. Doty has been out for 3 or 4, and the quarterback race was tight. He's been out for 3 weeks. He's talking about he's behind the 8 ball. You start with the guy who can give you the best chance to win, and it's not really close. It's the same guy who won last week. The kid's behind the 8 ball. He's got to catch up. He's got Jason. A lot of these guys got ahead of him right now. He just got to catch up. He's behind the 8 ball. I don't anticipate him even playing this weekend at all.
Really?
I don't know why he would play.
That's not the case.
You think Doty's going to play, Will?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think he should.
All right. So who wins, Will? Gamecocks or Pirates?
Oh, I think South Carolina's going to win.
Oh.
No question.
2-0. They'll be 2-0. Carl?
We like I said, this is a good road exhibition game for us with a little bit better talent, but we should win this one with no problem.
Guys, Will, I'm proud of you for standing up, during a tough time here. We appreciate that. Carl, I'm proud of you for kind of holding it together a little bit there, not going too much overboard. Appreciate both of you tonight.
Really?
Oh, you thought he went overboard a little bit?
I'm just teasing with him. I love Carl.
Yeah. You guys
Absolutely, buddy.
Enjoy your week. Enjoy the football. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
Sounds good. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Go
Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Will. Will and the thrill. Will trying to be the mature one there, Chris. He's trying to
figure out.
He's trying to be the big boy he's trying to be the big boy in the room.
Excuse me. I'm trying to figure out, since this is a relatively new segment for me, being new to the football season side of the show. Are we like professional wrestling referees that just get tossed out of the ring while the two combatants go head to head? What role do we play here other than to make sure that Will and Carl don't necessarily say something they're not supposed to?
Instigators.
Okay.
That's kind of what we try to do. We try to fire them up and let them go at it, and like we said before, it's when was the last time? I think it was 2014. Because I looked this up, or somebody else did, then I saw it on Twitter, and then I looked it up too. I think it was 2014, the last time Clemson lost and South Carolina won on the same day.
I saw you post that, and that's a really remarkable and amazing stat. I mean, it really
Well,
is.
that's a tribute to Clemson never losing.
No doubt.
Over
no
all
doubt.
those years. They've been and when they've lost, it's been on in playoff games, a lot of times. An occasional, regular season loss, but South Carolina happened to lose that same day. So Gamecock fans are enjoying it now, and I don't see any reason why they won't come back 2-0. Well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, there's reason why they could lose to East Carolina. They've got to play really good football. I think you're going to see a very similar approach, run the football, whether it's Doty or whether it's Nolan at quarterback. Don't put the game on them. They showed that they've got, now with Kevin Harris ready to go, shoot. I mean, Zaquandre White, don't forget, and people probably are forgetting this because it's gotten lost in his career. He was a highly regarded prospect coming out of Florida high school who went to Florida State to play running back, and they moved him to linebacker where he played. And he left to go to junior college because he wanted to play running back. And he became the number one running back prospect in junior colleges. And South Carolina got him, and Will Muschamp and them signed him, got him in last year. He had kind of a wasted year last year, but now he's getting to really show his stuff on special teams. And they seem to love him just as a person. He's one of those guys that truly gives it all to the team, is willing to do everything and do it full speed. And now he's enjoying the fruits of that labor because, listen, you got to put the ball in his hands too.
Well, he was their best running back during the spring, Phil. I realized there were injuries. They weren't playing Marshawn Lloyd nor Kevin Harris, and I think you can make the argument he was their best running back in game one of the season.
Yes, I think you could make that argument. All right, thank you to Will and the Thrill for the visit tonight here on Sports Talk. Always appreciate it. All right, Pat's telling me November 12th of 2016, last time Carolina-Clemson lost on the same day. Clemson at home to Pitt and USC Florida. Okay, it was 2016.
No. The question was the last time that South Carolina won on the same day that Clemson lost. That was the question. Losing on the same day.
Pat, you're answering the wrong question, Pat. Yeah, the question is, when was the last time Clemson lost and South Carolina won on the same day? Go look at 2014 if you're going to go back and look at seasons. I think it was 2014. Thank you for that. For me, once again, repeating wrong information. Let's do the recruiting report because I know that that's correct information because I wrote it up myself. And it is brought to you by Seawells. Man, I can't wait to get back over to Seawells for a delicious lunch. Have not been able to get over there recently because of a variety of reasons, but I will get there soon. And I will enjoy the delicious lunch buffet 11 to 2, and you can too. It's not exclusive to us or Sports Talk listeners, though we'd love to see our Sports Talk listeners just swarm the place. Swarm Seawells for lunch. It's a great price, and it's great food, and it's well done. And, of course, for the best in the catering business, just make the phone call to Seawells at 803-771-7385. Defensive tackle Jamari Lyon, 6'4", 277 of Melbourne, Florida, of course, has narrowed his list to USC and Florida, a decision on October the 6th. Looking forward to seeing each at least one more time before he makes the call. Made an official visit to Florida in June and also visited unofficially twice in the summer. He is going back to Gainesville September 18th. Made an unofficial to USC mid-June. He'll take an official to USC September 24th. That's his birthday weekend. Now, a lot of folks on the internet have him locked in for Florida, but he told us that's just because he lives there and people think he's going there. And they tell him, these websites tell him that you want to be a Gator. And he says, no, I'm still thinking about South Carolina. Now, that might just be lip service. But, he likes Jimmy Lindsey. He likes what he's hearing from them. He had a really good time on his visit. He's getting a lot of attention from Shane Beamer as well. And he thinks Beamer is doing a good job early on turning around the program. So he plans on bringing in his parents, his grandfather, his brother, sister, possibly a cousin on the visit, and he wants to take a closer look of the USC program inside and out. USC target 2023 quarterback Dylan Lonergan, Snellville, Georgia, will visit Ohio State this weekend. Another USC target, linebacker Joshua Joseph of Kennesaw, Georgia, will not make his commitment announcement October 1st as he had planned. He's had USC, Kentucky, Tennessee, Michigan, Auburn, and Penn State as favorites. He visited USC the end of July and plans to visit again. He's taken officials at Tennessee and Michigan, and he plans to be at Michigan this weekend for their game. A few more notes coming up, and Morgan on the move.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. If you got rain today, it's not quite over. After a low of 71 overnight, look for a partly to mostly cloudy day. Tomorrow, with a 40% chance of more showers and a high of 84. Starting Friday, though, it gets beautiful with low humidity, sunshine, and temps through the weekend maxing out in the mid-80s. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
Oh, good, you're home. I need your help.
Doing what?
Replacing our old light bulbs with these new energy-efficient LEDs.
Where did you get these?
Dominion Energy. I ordered direct from their online store. LEDs for every room, all at huge discounts.
Oh, really?
Yes, really. And my 15-bulb order got us free shipping.
Sounds too good to be true.
See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The Navy says the sailor killed in the suicide bomber attack during the evacuation mission in Afghanistan late last month has been posthumously promoted. And he and the other 12 service members who died during the attack have been awarded Purple Hearts. The 13 troops were killed August 26th as they were helping to screen Afghans and others at the Abbey Gate of the Kabul airport. At least 169 Afghans were also killed in that bombing as they struggled to get into the airport and on flights out of the country. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 68 points, the Nasdaq dropped 87, the S&P 500 lower by 5, crude oil up 95 cents to $69.30 a barrel. More details at srnnews.com.
Football is back. And this year, the Citadel is trying to be top dog.
Get in here! I got one thing to say. This is when the big dogs come out. Okay? You can't run with the big dogs. Stay on the board.
Touchdown, Bulldogs! Fire those cannons. The Bulldogs are back.
The Citadel Bulldogs, all season long on 100.7 The Point.
Hey, I'm State Representative Chris Wooten.
And I'm State Representative Micah Cassidy.
Join us on Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. on The Rep.
We'll talk about everything that's happening at the State House and give you an insider's perspective.
All from the General Assembly. So join us at 9 a.m. on The Point, 100.7 FM or 1470 a.m.
You ever notice there's a lot of foundation repair companies in the Midlands? Well, I asked my guys at TerraTech about this. Seems like 80% of the homes end up with foundation issues in the Midlands. It's just the soil around here. So how do you pick the right foundation company if you think you're having an issue? I always start by thinking local. I mean, think local always. Your home is your biggest financial investment. You want someone who's been here a while and isn't going anywhere for a while, and that's TerraTech. They're family-owned, they're AAA approved by the Better Business Bureau, and they are 100% local. They use the highest quality products, and they stand behind their work. And I'm not into scare tactics, no way. But goodness, this is your home. I mean, it's your castle. Walk around it. Take a look. If you see cracks in the foundation, just call TerraTech. They'll come out for free. No cost, no obligation. They'll tell you honestly if you have a problem or not. You can trust TerraTech to repair your home. You know I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. Online, it's TerraTechInc.com or call them 791-8888. That's 791-8888 or online at TerraTechInc.com.
Hi, honey. Were you able to drop by True Pharmacy today to pick up Mom's medications?
Yes, she sure is on a lot of meds.
I know. That's why I go over so often, to help make sure she's taking them correctly.
Well, I have great news. The pharmacist at True Pharmacy said he can pre-pack her medications into individual doses.
Wow. Knowing she's taking the right meds at the right time will give me great peace of mind. But how much does it cost?
That's the even better part. It's free. Just another great service they offer at True Pharmacy. True Pharmacy, 2 locations, Charleston Highway in West Columbia and Devine Street downtown.
Hello, fondue fans. It's Jay from the Melting Pot. Well, you don't have to be a fondue fan to be a fan of the Melting Pot, but it sure helps. By the way, who eats melted cheese when it's 106 degrees outside anyway? And thank you for eating melted cheese and warm chocolate, by the way. The reality is special occasions don't end when it's summertime. Birthdays, anniversaries, end of summer, back to school celebrations, you name it. We celebrate it with you. So come and see us at 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard, the Melting Pot.
Hi, this is Michelle Arnold, your host for Travel Buzz, every Monday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on 100.7 The Point. We're here to make your travel dreams a reality. That's Travel Buzz every Monday morning at 9 on The Point.
All right, couple of more quick recruiting notes, and then Mike Morgan joins us. Safety Zion Branch of Las Vegas confirmed in a post-game interview with Rivals he'll take an official to Clemson November 19th, 1 week after he visits Alabama. He's already taken officials to Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Southern Cal. USC target linebacker Deuce Spurlock of Madison, Alabama will be at Auburn Saturday. He was at USC last Saturday. Clemson today offered 2023 offensive tackle Marquis Anderson of Dorman. He also has Clemson, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, Florida State, and Arkansas offers. Clemson is in the top 12 with 2023 offensive tackle Caden Proctor, 6'7", 330 of Des Moines, Iowa. 5-star, ranked the number 1 offensive tackle nationally in his class. And in honor of Mike, I will now give you the other 11. Iowa State, Iowa, Ohio State, Alabama, Notre Dame, LSU, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Florida, Texas, and Georgia. 2023 quarterback Raheem Jeter of Spartanburg, offered by Temple. 2023 running back Jarvis Green of Dutch Fork to visit Clemson Saturday. Blythewood native 6'6" Julian Phillips, now at Link Academy in Missouri, will take an official to Southern Cal this weekend, according to Dan McDonald of Rivals. 6'5", Jasim Felton, Gastonia, North Carolina, 2024 class, offered by USC today. He was in for a visit. And Baseball America ranked the USC recruiting class for the 22 season number 16 nationally, Clemson number 23, 11 SEC teams, 6 ACC teams are in the top 25. UCLA is number 1, followed by Florida, Vandy, Arkansas, and Tennessee. And with that, we tell you that's recruiting, available on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, on Twitter. Use the hashtag STRecruiting. Welcome in Mike Morgan. Morgan on the Move, brought to you by Stuart Wingo of Ameris Mortgage. Save thousands on a refi or new mortgage today. 803-319-1777. Mike, did you enjoy the list of the top 12 there we had for that young man?
That was fascinating. Who was the number 32 left guard again for the 2022 class?
Jimbo Basilia.
Oh, okay. No, yeah, I like his footwork. I think he's narrowed it down to about 14 schools.
Can you give those to us?
North Carolina, South Carolina, East Carolina, South Carolina State, Coastal Carolina, Clemson, Southwest Louisiana, Northeast Louisiana, Louisiana Tech, Florida, Florida State, FIU, FAU, JU.
All right, we get the point.
FSU.
We get the point. We get the point.
Okay.
Good to have you with us. So
good to be here.
SEC, they put their big old foot out there, except for Vanderbilt. Pretty much stomped on everybody they played this past weekend.
Yeah, of course, I had one of the notable exceptions. Vanderbilt got taken to the woodshed by ETSU and head coach Randy Sanders, who SEC fans will remember, recruited Peyton Manning, coached a national championship at Tennessee, coached a national championship at Florida State with Jameis Winston, had success coaching quarterbacks at Kentucky. Really good coach. I was shocked that he actually was the coach when I found that out. But Vanderbilt got roughed up. That's a rebuild for sure. And then the team I have this Saturday in LSU, of course, they lost it was a competitive game, but UCLA with Chip Kelly now, I watched every play of that game just back on film, just getting ready and seeing what exactly happened. I mean, it's not as if LSU played a sloppy game or guys just didn't show up to play. They just got beat, by what looks like a better team. In fact, I would not be surprised at all if UCLA wins the Pac-12 this year. I just think that they now have the athletes to go along with Chip Kelly's play calling. And that's in the past, that's been a pretty lethal combination. All you got to do is look back to Oregon back in the days. I mean, look, I'm happy there's somebody relevant on the left coast. We haven't had a whole lot of that in recent memory. LSU is still an ultra talented team with first round, second round draft picks on both sides of the football. They just on that given day got beaten by a better team.
By the way, I should have mentioned up front, we're not paying you for this interview, unlike other sports talk shows now around the SEC. You will not be paid for coming on our air.
This is not an NIL deal.
No.
You mean shoot. Then, it's getting kind of late, Phil. I've enjoyed the time.
You get nothing but our love and admiration. All right.
That's what it's all about.
Now, on to other things. I thought Ole Miss, the one thing Ole Miss needed was a defense to go along with that scary offense. Do you think their defense is really good? I thought they looked good against Louisville fundamentally, not just accidentally. And a good defense with that offense, I think, makes them really scary in the West.
I think even the goal, if you could even lower the bar and say, just give it an average defense, and Ole Miss could be problems for a lot of teams in the league. I can't use Louisville as a litmus test, though. That program has really fallen on hard times, and I don't know what you take from that, to be honest with you. I want to see what Ole Miss does in the heart of conference play, and then I'll start believing. There's no question offensively. I was amazed how many people ranked 3, 4, 5 quarterbacks ahead of Matt Corral this year in college football.
Really?
I mean, what have you been watching? He could easily be the number one passer in the country. He is that good. He has that good of an arm. He can move. There's not many weaknesses in his game. So you've got that. You've got weapons. You've got Lane. And you've got what I'm guessing will be an average defense, which would be a remarkable improvement from last year and the year before, which was an atrocious defense.
Morgan on the Move. Mike Morgan with us for his weekly visit here on Sports Talk. Mike, do you understand the targeting rule in college football? And if so, can you explain it to us in 30 seconds? Because I'm not sure anyone does, including the officials.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I get it. The rule it's designed for safety. It has good intentions, and quite frankly, it's not going anywhere. I have long been a believer that an ejection, unless it is egregiously flagrant in nature, the ejection is way too punitive, entirely too punitive. You can get your point across without throwing players out left and right, like the half dozen we did in the game between Ole Miss and Louisville. That's just not good for the game. It's not fair to the kids. It certainly hasn't served as a deterrent, right? Isn't that what most rules and things alike or penalties are used for, is to deterrent? But these are not headhunters. These are not guys going out there thinking, okay, I'm going to spear somebody so I can hurt them. These are guys that try to make the right play, and then it doesn't work out, and then they hit somebody where they shouldn't or how they shouldn't, and they're justifiably penalized. But I just think we have to do something about that. I think there's a better way to do it. And when the game is being just completely bogged down by targeting rules on replay, it's not a good look for the game itself.
I want to preface what I'm about to say, understanding it's going to sound like a stupid question on the surface, but considering he's placed his last 3 quarterbacks in the NFL, seemingly every year he loses his offensive coordinator and other members off the staff, do we underestimate how good a coach Nick Saban actually is?
Well, I'd like to think we're all past that. I do think, to your point, It's one of those where you don't really realize it till he's gone. Like I think that hopefully everybody on this show right now is going to live a long, prosperous life. And even you, Phil, despite your diet and lack of exercise, I think you've got a good 30 years in you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But I think we'll look back at it when Saban and Belichick are retired. We'll look back at it and say we saw the best that ever did it at each level. Mm-hmm. I mean, is anybody in our lifetime going to accomplish more or do a better job than Nick Saban and Bill Belichick? I really find that hard to believe. So maybe sometimes he's taken a little bit for granted, but no, he's built a machine. He's built an absolute machine. And college football, unlike the NFL, is not designed for parity. The NFL is designed where you get your time at the top of the Ferris wheel, and then you go back down because you get the worst draft picks. You got a salary cap. College football is built for the supreme powers to stay in power, and Alabama under Nick Saban is just that.
That is entirely true. Couple more minutes with Morgan on the move here on Sports Talk. Quick thoughts on Georgia, Clemson. What surprised you? What didn't surprise you?
The only thing that surprised me was the lack of points, because we already know they both have elite defenses, but really, like, no offensive touchdowns. That surprised me, and quite frankly, it disappointed me. It made for less than a stellar game for myself. I love good defense as much as anybody, but I need to see a little bit more offense than that. More often than not, elite offense will trump elite defense in college football. You know, I mean, you look at what Clemson did to Alabama in the national championship game. That was a great Alabama defense. They couldn't stop Clemson on that night. So I'd be a little bit concerned. Clemson's offensive line. I'd be a little bit concerned. You know, maybe you just assume that everybody's going to be another Trevor Lawrence because you get 5-star after 5-star. But I don't know if I would assume that just yet. And if you're Georgia, there's already been criticism around here. More conservative play calling. That's been the criticism of Kirby Smart since he got the job. But they're not going to criticize too much as long as you win. If they lost the game like that, it would be just bloody murder around here.
But that defense by Georgia, just like Clemson's.
Oh, it's legit.
Yeah.
It's look, this is Kirby's best team, and that might be Kirby's best defense. And they showed out, and they stymied Clemson. And made that offense look a little bit stale, quite frankly. But I mean, look, Clemson could still rattle off 12 in a row and get in the playoff. Mm-hmm. You know, they had that luxury. I don't think Georgia had that luxury. I think Georgia really needed that game to ensure that they were going to have a really good chance of making it to another playoff.
Well, I don't want to be one of those blatherers who overreacts to what he sees on the first week of the season. And I know quarterbacks are always the number one picks in the drafts and the guys that are always the Heisman front runners. But for my money, Jordan Davis at Georgia, my goodness, he just redirects the line of scrimmage. He's so big. He's so massive. He runs so well. I mean, I don't know that I've seen anybody that big on a defensive line like that since William Perry. And we've seen a lot of big ones and good ones too, but is he, you know, what's your view on him? Can he be a great one by the time he's done?
Well, he'd certainly be a great college player. I mean, they were just ecstatic to have him back. So that was already a coup for Georgia. But no, he is the focal point of that defense, and you know, you can't just throw double and triple teams at them because they have talent on the edge. They have talent on linebacker. I mean, they're loaded. That is a Nick Saban-like defense. That's what Kirby has been recruiting. That is what he's been putting together for quite some time now in Athens. And like I said, this might be the best starting 11 yet. So if they just get the offense humming along, I don't see anybody knocking them off in the Eastern Division this year. And I'd be surprised if they don't give, whether it's Alabama or A&M in the West, I'd be surprised if they don't give them a very good game in Atlanta. And we're 3 months away, but I'm sorry to say college football is that predictable at the top.
Yeah. All right, last thing. Feel-good week for the Gamecocks. They took care of business. They covered a big spread. They put a lot of points up. Defense threw up a shutout. They were able to throw the Gatorade bath on Beamer for his first win. Just a feel-good moment. Father in the stands, et cetera, et cetera. And that'll carry over to this week. They go to East Carolina. Winnable game, losable game. In about a minute, tell me what your takeaway is of South Carolina from the glimpse you got of them Saturday.
Well, I don't take a whole lot against Eastern Illinois. I'm happy for Shane. I'm happy for that fan base that deserves something just to feel good about it. Almost reminded me a little bit, I was there. I know you were there for the win against New Mexico State in 2000. I realized it wasn't the same losing streak, but it kind of felt that way going into this season. So just to get a dub with a new coach and a new attitude, and now, like you said, it's a swing game coming up. I think this is one that you want it so bad because you get the feeling that they could win it, that it could start to lead to some momentum and maybe snowball and some positivity. If you lose it, then it's a reminder of, okay, new coaching staff, new culture, new everything else, but still how much talent is there? ECU's got a veteran quarterback, and that's always a big thing in college football, and they might have one of their better teams in Greenville for a while. So I was a little surprised, quite honestly, when I saw Carolina an underdog at one point. I think that's changed. I think the Gamecocks are now a small favorite, but I think it should be a competitive game.
Mike, enjoy your trip to Baton Rouge. Always a fun place to be on a Saturday in the fall, or almost the fall, and we'll talk to you next week, sir.
Okay, guys, be good.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks,
Mike Morgan. On the move. I have to say that loud so he can hear us in Atlanta. Brought to you by Stuart Wingo of Ameris Mortgage. Coming up, break here on Sports Talk. Got some baseball coming your way. There's plenty of Major League action that Chris will cover as he goes around the horn. Finish up with a few final notes on this Wednesday edition of Sports Talk. Don't forget tomorrow night, Thursday, should be a lot of fun. Chalk Talk, Chuck Reedy and Ellis Johnson. 6:35 tomorrow night. Get their takes on things, and we're back in a moment.
Relax on and off the field with Founders Federal Credit Union. With services like Founders Online and the Founders app, you'll enjoy all the perks of a big bank with local personalized service. If you're looking for low rates, look to Founders. Not a member? Joining Founders Federal Credit Union is easy. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
We've got Major Billy Downer with us here from the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. Hunting season is upon us. Major Downer, how do we stay safe?
Smitty, that's a great question. Mistaken for game is a leading cause of hunting accidents each year. So this year, DNR is encouraging everyone to wear hunter orange and use a flashlight when traveling to and from your hunting location in low light. Remember, be safe, be seen.
And remember, life's better outdoors. Visit dnr.sc.gov for more.
All South Carolinians are now eligible for the COVID-19 vaccines. For help finding a vaccine location in your area, visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110. COVID-19 vaccines are free and don't require ID or insurance. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110 to find a vaccine location near you.
Stay tuned. More Sports Talk is coming up on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Every day, you make choices that protect your family. At Farm Bureau Insurance, we're here to help make some of those choices easier. Your local Farm Bureau insurance agent is on hand to provide the reassurance and protection you need. Call today for your free no-obligation review for auto, home, and life insurance that's custom-tailored just for you.
Call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, covering Lawrence, Clinton, Joanna, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
South Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Casualty Insurance Company, Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi.
Life. It has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
The future of golf is waiting for you at the Players Club. Rain, shine, or after dark, you can enjoy the game of golf anytime at Columbia's Indoor Country Club. The Players Club delivers the most realistic golf experience and offers more than 90 championship courses. Play or practice with the same state-of-the-art full-swing simulators used by Tiger Woods and Jordan Spieth. Visit MainCourseSC.com to book a bay and become a player today at the Players Club, part of the Main Course, 1626 Main Street in Columbia.
Okay, we're going to get you a little bit of Dabo Swinney here momentarily, but first, Chris takes us around the horn.
On a big day in Major League Baseball, as Around the Horn presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County taking care of things in the upstate. Give him a call at 864-923-2174. And Alex Satterfield in Columbia at 803-749-9171. Forget what you know about Major League Baseball and the Baseball Hall of Fame during the summertime. No, today is the day. Induction day at in Cooperstown that seemed for months would never come, but Yankees great Derek Jeter going into the Hall of Fame today, along with Larry Walker, Ted Simmons, and also late labor pioneer Marvin Miller, honored alongside Jeter, and the career of each provided poignant moments during baseball's first induction ceremony since July 21st of 2019. Of course, most of the fans in Cooperstown turned out to see Jeter, the captain of the Yankees, who led baseball's most storied franchise to 7 pennants and 5 World Series titles during a 20-year career in which he had over 3,400 hits, the 6th highest total in big league history. Meantime, on the diamond tonight, quick outing for Washington Nationals pitcher Sean Nolan, because in the bottom of the first inning against the Braves, he thought it a good idea to throw behind Freddie Freeman on the first pitch and then hit Freddie Freeman on the second pitch. He, of course, has been ejected, and the Nationals still have a 1-0 lead as they go to the second inning of play over at Truist Park in Atlanta. Braves right now 73-64, trying to hold on to the lead in the National League East. And that's our quick trip around the horn tonight, brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance.
All right, and some quick words from Dabo Swinney. He met with the media after practice about 6:30 or so. Bring you a little bit of his opening comments. Let's go.
All right. It's crazy. It's hard to believe it. Most of the practice is come and gone. We're already in the Thursday. So I was telling the team, man, it goes fast. So just enjoying showing up every day, being in the moment, and enjoying our journey this year. Proud of the team. It's been a great week of practice, a great Tuesday and Wednesday practice. Really focused, great energy, a very competitive 2-minute drill today to finish practice, and just like how these guys have gone about their business. And looking forward to Saturday. Super excited about being in the Valley and all these 2 classes of freshmen that we got that have yet to experience what it's like in the Valley, man. They're all excited, and I'm excited for them. I'm excited for our fans to have the opportunity to see the Tigers play here in Clemson, and it's going to be a special day. I know this is First Responders Day for us, and 9/11. So much goes through my mind when I think about 9/11 and where I was, what I was doing, and that whole day, and the emotions of that day, and then all the weeks, months after that. So just so thankful for all the first responders, and we can honor them well Saturday. And then also just, remember all those who lost their life, all the families who just so much grief in that horrific moment. But I know it's going to be a great day here. And again, our young men are super excited about going out and playing and hopefully playing, our best game and building upon that. So with that, I'll take the questions.
Coach, it's David Hood with TigerNet. How did EJ do with his thumb at practice yesterday? And is he still thinking he'll be able to go Saturday?
He actually did great. He was great. He's tough as nails, and he's a little sore, but you never know it. He really they they put him on some anti-inflammatory now, but originally they didn't because they thought they were going to do surgery. But no, he was awesome. He said he looks great. Didn't see any hesitation at all. I mean, he made some great catches. You catch one from Big Cinco, you catch one from anybody. So that's good news for us. So really excited that he's going to be able to go, and they've got him on a nice little bracelet that he can hopefully get through the season, and when the season's over, they can fix it.
All right, there you go. Little Dabo Swinney, the news there on E.J. Williams. He's all good to go in terms of being able to play. He was able to practice, even though they got that broken thumb all casted up, but he'll be able to go this weekend. We have to go. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Someone will be right with you. The Point.